This is our 139th annual meeting, and we are proud to be able to host it today virtually with all of you. Before we get started, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you who generously helped us make this event come together. They include Lisa Toll, a former diocesan ECW president, and also a former president of the National Episcopal Church Women. Lisa's firm also provides services to maintain our website. Joe Shook, our co-host and technical consultant. He is quite an ever-patient one for those who are challenged by technology. The Reverend Sarah Woodard is deacon at St. Titus's and will officiate at evening prayer. The Reverend Joseph Brown is to be commended for helping one of our coordinators produce a video for her presentation. And last but certainly not least, Bishop Ann, who is a longtime friend and ECW supporter. We fondly recall providing some of those fancy bishop liturgical vestments for her consecration. We thank all of you for your service. My association with ECW spans about 20 years in a variety of capacities. Some of these were fraught with joys and some with challenges. My home parish is St. Titus, Durham, where I have served in many capacities except preach. In a small parish where we were without a priest for several years, sometimes as many as 5 years, it was necessary to assume several leadership roles. And now to talk about the agenda. We began thinking about the 139th annual meeting shortly after realizing that COVID was not going away. Traditionally, every 3 years, ECW sponsors a conference or special retreat to focus on social issues, and it's called the Harris Evans Conference. We considered an in-person meeting, but further planning and discussion led to the decision to sponsor the Harris Evans Conference in 2022. We hope the theme and the meeting activities will provide helpful takeaways as we live through this pandemic. And while I'm talking about the agenda has been changed a bit to accommodate Bishop Ann. And so Bishop Ann's presentation has been moved from the bottom of the agenda to up near the front of the agenda. And while I'm talking about the agenda, we thought it would be a nice gesture to have people to introduce themselves as opposed to being introduced by someone else. And to that end, just before an individual is to appear, there will be a slide announcing the individual's name and that they are to be the next person on to speak. But before we move on, let's do a little talk about Zoom housekeeping. All of the participants except the presenters are muted at the appropriate time to join the conversation. You may participate by sending an email, or you may type your comment in the chat window, which is found at the bottom of your screen. And I just mentioned that each presentation will be introduced by an up next slide containing the name of the individual and the presentation. as in this next slide that's coming up now.